Far beyond the mapped reaches of the galaxy, in the cold and silent void where stars seemed like scattered shards of glass, the Zithran Empire maintained vigilant observation. Their vast fleets and countless monitoring stations had long ensured that no anomaly could go unnoticed. Yet even here, in the outermost borders of their meticulously controlled territory, something unusual stirred, a signal. It was faint at first. Barely a ripple in the electromagnetic spectrum, barely a whisper amidst the chaos of cosmic radiation. The alien analysts were intrigued but dismissive. "It is nothing," said the young communications officer, Zelther, tapping the screen nervously. "Perhaps a dying probe. Perhaps a malfunction in a passing ship." Admiral Corvallis, a figure whose very presence could silence a room, leaned forward from his command chair. His limbs were long and angular, his exoskeleton-like armor glinting under the harsh lighting of the observation deck. Corvallis's many eyes narrowed. "Nothing does not produce this pattern," he said, his voice a low, resonant rumble. "Trace it. I want the origin plotted, sector by sector. I want the species identified, and I want an assessment of their threat level, immediately." The officers hurried to comply. Screens lit up with complex arrays of data. Stellar coordinates, electromagnetic readings, quantum fluctuations. And yet, nothing in Zithra's vast archives matched the pattern. It was unlike any known communication or distress signal. It did not carry fear, nor did it carry surrender. It carried awareness. Meanwhile, across tens of thousands of light-years, aboard the Earth Fleet's secret command station Orion's Shadow, the signal originated from a single encrypted beacon. Hidden deep in a quantum rift near the Kuiper expanse, the beacon had been transmitting for decades. It was not meant for the Zithrans, or anyone else. It was an invitation to observation, a subtle declaration that humanity was awake, aware, and no longer confined to the shadows. Commander Lyra Venn stood in the command room, arms crossed, eyes fixed on a holographic projection of the galaxy. Her hair, dark as the void outside the station's reinforced windows, framed a face that carried both calm authority and a faint trace of amusement. "They've noticed," she said quietly, almost to herself, "and they think it's a mistake." Her second-in-command, Terran Solis, frowned. "Are we certain? If the Zithrans traced this signal back?" Lyra smiled. Not a warm smile, but one of absolute confidence. "They won't trace it back in time. By the time they understand what they're seeing, we'll already have rewritten the rules of engagement." On Zithra, the alien fleets moved with methodical precision. Sensors recalibrated, observation posts pivoted toward the unknown source, and communications ran hot with speculation. Admiral Corvallis convened an emergency council of his most trusted advisors, generals, scientists, and spies. Their voices, layered with urgency, filled the vast chamber aboard the orbital citadel Thrisalon. "Estimate their technological level," demanded Corvallis. "If this is an emerging species, we must strike before they can reach maturity. If this is an ancient civilization, we face the unimaginable." Zelther, still trembling slightly, presented the preliminary findings. "Admiral, the signal does not match any known energy signatures in the galaxy. Our readings suggest it is concealed, cloaked. Its origin is likely within a location hidden from conventional detection methods." Corvallis's mandibles clicked together in thought, a sound that could chill even the bravest of soldiers. "Hidden, you say? So they are intelligent. They are patient. They are calculating. And we have never encountered such patience before." Back on Orion's Shadow, Lyra observed the growing panic in Zithran transmissions, her eyes reflecting the lights of thousands of hidden human vessels. These ships were no longer mere shadows, they were instruments of quiet revelation. Each ship had been constructed in secrecy over decades, a masterpiece of human ingenuity and foresight. Quantum cloaking fields, hyperdrive engines capable of near-instantaneous jumps, and advanced defensive systems far beyond the understanding of even Zithran engineers. Yet, humanity had not revealed itself with hostility. This was not an invasion. This was a test of perception. Lyra wanted the Zithrans to feel the depth of human patience, to realize that the species they had underestimated for centuries had grown not through brute force, but through intelligence, planning, and relentless curiosity. In the alien council chamber, speculation turned to fear. "Could it be a trap?" asked one of the generals, a massive creature named Thrylock whose claws had crushed more enemies than he cared to count. "They reveal nothing, yet their presence dominates every sensor we have. How do we respond to something we cannot touch?" Corvallis's many eyes glinted with cold fire. "We do what we have always done. We prepare. We gather. We strike if necessary. Yet even as he spoke, doubt crept into his voice, a rare, dangerous flaw. For in his centuries of command, he had never faced an enemy that could exist without being seen. Lyra, standing on the observation deck of Orion's shadow, finally turned to her staff. "Prepare the fleet for mobilization," she instructed. "No one fires unless I give the command. Our moment isn't to destroy, it's to reveal. Let them see the full measure of human potential. Let them understand the cost of underestimating us." Her words carried through the station like a clarion call, igniting a sense of purpose in every officer, every crew member, every mind aboard. Humanity's hidden fleet was not merely a weapon. It was a statement. And in the quiet darkness of Zithran space, that statement was about to be heard. The signal pulsed again, faint but deliberate, a heartbeat of light across impossible distances. In Zithra, alarms rang and every mind that could think began to calculate, to wonder, to fear. On Orion's shadow, Lyra allowed herself a small, knowing smile. "They don't yet understand," she murmured. "They will. Soon enough they will." In that moment the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. A species long hidden, long underestimated, had sent its first whisper across the stars. And though no battle had been fought, a shift had begun. A shift that would shake empires, collapse arrogance, and prove that humanity was never truly alone and never truly weak. For the Zithrans the signal was a mystery. For humanity, it was the first step in a revelation that would forever change the balance of the cosmos. And so the game began, not with war but with the quiet, unyielding assertion that humanity was awake, aware, and ready to claim its place among the stars. The Zithran scout ship, a sleek triangular vessel of obsidian alloy, glided silently toward the coordinates of the mysterious signal. On board, Lieutenant Sarenkai monitored the instruments with growing unease. Every sensor, every scan returned only empty space. No planets, no stations, no signs of intelligent activity, only the faint echoes of the signal that had drawn them here. "Captain," Saren said, her voice tense but steady, "there's nothing. Just space. It's like the sector is empty." Captain Vierwenenthal, a seasoned officer with deep violet scales and armored ridges lining his shoulders, frowned. "Empty?" His mandibles clicked sharply. "A species capable of transmitting across light years, and we find nothing? Are your instruments malfunctioning?" "I've checked 3 times, Saren replied. "All systems are operational." Vierwenen's many eyes narrowed. "Then it must be a trap." Meanwhile, light years away, humanity's Orion Shadow Station watched the Zithrans through quantum observation arrays, invisible to the alien sensors. Commander Lyra Ven paced slowly, her long coat brushing against the polished floors of the observation deck. Around her, the station's holographic galaxy shimmered, dotted with the hidden positions of human ships, silent guardians waiting to act. Lyra's gaze lingered on the Zithran scouts' projected path. "They expect nothing," she murmured. "And that is their mistake." The human fleet had been built not for aggression alone, but for strategic revelation. Each ship, sleek and angular, carried cloaking fields that rendered them invisible to conventional detection. Engines capable of near-instantaneous hyperjumps allowed them to appear anywhere in the sector at will. Weapon systems were advanced enough to disable a planet's defenses in moments, but that wasn't the plan. No. The plan was simpler, more elegant. To make the Zithrans see the impossible, and to make them question everything they thought they knew. Back on the scout ship, Sarenkai's instruments suddenly flickered. A small reading appeared in the periphery, a pulse of energy impossibly fast, fading before the sensors could register it fully. "Captain," Saren whispered, "I think something just." Before she could finish, the reading vanished entirely. The instruments reported nothing. The alien crew exchanged uneasy glances. Vierwenen's jaw tightened. "This isn't a malfunction. Something is playing with our sensors. But what? And why?" Lyra watched the entire exchange unfold on Orion's shadow. With a subtle gesture, she activated the fleet's first demonstration of presence. Ships that had been completely invisible blinked into view across multiple sectors simultaneously, their hulls shimmering like liquid chrome. Thousands of vessels, each sleek and alien in design yet unmistakably human, formed a silent constellation. They did not move aggressively. They did not fire. They existed. The Zithran sensors screamed with overload. The scout ship's captain struggled to make sense of the readings. "They're everywhere," Saren stammered. "Impossible. There's no way." Vierwenen gritted his mandibles. "We must report this immediately. The High Council." Lyra's voice echoed through the fleet's intercom, calm but commanding. No reports yet. Let them think they are in control. The human ships vanished again, leaving nothing but the haunting impression of sudden, impossible presence. The Zithrans were left with a single horrifying realization. The species they had dismissed, considered primitive and insignificant, had already outgrown their expectations. On Orion's shadow, Lyra turned to Terran Solis. The first contact is never about combat, she explained. It's about perception. If they see what humans can do, and survive, they will reconsider every assumption they've ever made. Terran nodded, though his expression was tense. Do you think they'll respond with hostility? Lyra's smile was faint but certain. If they respond with hostility, it won't matter. They've already seen what we are capable of. But I think they'll pause first. Fear is a powerful teacher. In the Zithran Council chamber, the High Admiral Corvallis received the first distressing reports. The scout ship had vanished from all grids. All readings indicated it had simply disappeared. Communication attempts yielded nothing. Corvallis's many eyes glimmered with frustration and unease. This is unacceptable, he said. We cannot strike at what we cannot locate. Prepare the fleet. I want a full scan of the sector. I want these humans identified, catalogued, and neutralized if necessary. Even as he spoke, another human pulse appeared, not far from the first. Ships blinked into existence near a vital Zithran supply route, hovering silently as if to say, "We see you." Panic began to ripple through Zithran command centers. No one had anticipated a species that could remain hidden yet appear at will, with power that seemed limitless. The aliens began overestimating every previous encounter, every calculation, every known limit. Lyra watched all this unfold, her fingers lightly tapping a console. She had spent decades preparing for this moment. The fleet had been designed not only for defense but to demonstrate human ingenuity, patience, and the ability to reshape entire sectors without firing a shot. A small human squadron, led personally by Lyra, initiated the first silent maneuver. They appeared near the Zithran scouts' last known location. Engines were inactive, weapons were concealed. The fleet was simply there, silent, commanding, unavoidable. Saren Kai stared at her instruments again. "Captain, they're here. All of them, how is this possible?" Virwen Enthal's voice was tight with fear. "They should not exist in this number. They should not be capable of this maneuver. This is beyond calculation. We cannot comprehend them." Lyra allowed herself a brief, private smile. "Let them realize the truth," she said. "We were never weak. We were never primitive. We were waiting." For the first time in Zithran history, a species encountered humans and could not immediately categorize them. They were no longer an insignificant signal in the void, they were a revelation. A presence that demanded attention, respect, and fear. And humanity, hidden in the depths of Orion's shadow, did not strike. Not yet. They simply existed. And in the silence of the void, that existence spoke louder than any weapon. The first contact had been made, not with sound, not with violence, but with the simple, undeniable proof of presence. The galaxy, it seemed, was about to learn that some species do not announce their arrival, they reveal it. For centuries, humanity had been underestimated. Across the galaxy, alien empires spoke of humans as fragile, primitive, confined to a pale blue world orbiting an unremarkable star. Yet, behind that facade, humanity had been building, learning, evolving in silence. On Orion's shadow, Commander Lyra Venn stood at the center of the largest holographic display the station had ever projected. Before her floated the positions of every human ship in the hidden fleet, numbering in the thousands, each vessel invisible to every sensor outside their cloaking field. "The fleet is ready," Lyra said, her voice calm, measured, yet carrying the weight of unspoken authority. Around her, captains and admirals, humans who had spent decades preparing for this day, nodded in silence. These were engineers, strategists, and tacticians who understood that a weapon's true power lies not in its use, but in the awareness of its existence. Terran Solis, Lyra's second-in-command, traced a path across the holographic map. "If we reveal even a fraction of this fleet, Zithran Command will panic. Their response times are slow, predictable. We can control every engagement without firing a shot." Lyra's eyes glimmered with quiet satisfaction. "Exactly. And we won't stop at a fraction." She turned to the nearest captain. "Bring the outer squadrons online. Slowly. Let them feel the pressure, let them taste uncertainty. Patience is our greatest weapon." Thousands of human ships, once hidden in quantum shadows, blinked into existence near Zithran trade routes, outposts and communication hubs. Their sleek hulls, polished and reflective, caught the faint light of distant stars, shimmering like a constellation of stars made of living metal. Each vessel, while armed with devastating weaponry, carried no aggressive intent. Humanity did not need to strike, they only needed to exist. On Zithra, the council convened in chaos. Admiral Corvallis paced the floor of the high citadel, his multiple limbs tapping against the polished metal decking. "Impossible," he shouted. "No species could assemble this, without detection. Every sensor, every scout, every observation post, nothing. They were hiding in plain space." General Thrylock, his massive clawed hands clenched tightly, growled in frustration. "And now they are everywhere. The fleet, it surrounds our critical infrastructure. One wrong move and we cannot escape. Our forces are too scattered to respond effectively." Corvallis's eyes narrowed, calculating, cold and precise. "Then we do what we must. We strike before they consolidate. We must." He paused, his voice faltering for the first time in centuries. "No. Strike? Strike at what? We cannot locate them fully. Every fleet movement we make is predictable. They appear where we do not expect. We are outmatched." Lyra observed this from Orion's shadow, reading Zithran communications as easily as one might read an open book. "They think they can control the galaxy because of fear," she said quietly. "But we are the ones they fear now. Not for what we have done but for what they cannot understand." The hidden fleet was humanity's masterpiece. Each ship was equipped with cloaking technology that rendered them invisible to detection, even across subspace communications. Hyperdrives allowed instant jumps across hundreds of light years, enabling the fleet to appear anywhere at any moment. Advanced AI systems managed every tactical and logistical variable, allowing human commanders to focus on strategy and perception. And yet, these were not just machines. Humanity's engineers had built each ship with purpose and adaptability, anticipating every possible alien tactic. Weapons could disable entire fleets without annihilating them. Defenses could absorb the might of a Zithran bombardment and retaliate with precision strikes on vital systems. Lyra's personal flagship, the Dauntless Horizon, hovered silently on the outskirts of Zithran space. Its hull, a gleaming silver, reflected the distant light of a dying sun. Inside, Lyra moved with deliberate grace, her crew performing their duties in perfect coordination. She did not issue orders hastily, she allowed every action to unfold with measured inevitability. A subcommander approached her, voice tense but excited. "Commander, the outer sectors report anomalies in Zithran fleet behavior. They are hesitating. Supply lines are being rerouted. Colonies are locking down communications. Entire fleets are standing down in uncertainty." Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "Good. They are learning the first lesson. Humans do not reveal all at once. We do not strike without purpose. Our presence is our first assault." On Zithra, panic had taken root. The once proud empire had never faced a species capable of strategic patience. Each human appearance, each sudden fleet projection was a message. "We are here. We know. We are ready." Virwen and Thal, the Zithran captain whose scout ship had first encountered the hidden fleet, reported to Corvallis. "Admiral, their ships, our sensors can barely maintain a lock. They appear, vanish and reappear at will. They are everywhere at once. We cannot predict them. We cannot fight them." Corvallis's many eyes glinted with a dangerous mixture of anger and fear. "Then we must retreat. We must regroup. But even that may be too late. They have changed the game entirely." Lyra watched this unfold from her command deck. "They think in centuries," she said to Terran Solis. "We think in decades, in innovation, in hidden growth. The galaxy measures strength by what is visible. Humans measure strength by what can appear without warning. The human fleet did not move aggressively. It did not attack colonies, planets, or fleets. Yet every Zithran command post felt the weight of an unseen presence pressing upon it, suffocating confidence and forcing strategic missteps. Humanity had revealed not a force to be destroyed, but a truth to be reckoned with. For the first time in recorded galactic history, an entire empire realized that existence alone could be a weapon. Lyra activated the Dauntless Horizon's communications, broadcasting a simple message across multiple Zithran frequencies, unencrypted, unmistakable. "We are here. We were never weak. We were waiting. Your assumptions end today." The effect was immediate. Across Zithran space, fleets hesitated, colonies went dark, and the once unassailable confidence of the empire fractured. Every officer, soldier, and civilian began to question what they thought they knew. Humanity had not fired a single shot, yet their influence spread further than any weapon could reach. And in that moment Lyra Ven knew, the first battle was already won. Not through destruction, not through fear, but through the revelation of hidden strength. The galaxy would never again look at humanity the same way. The hidden fleet, long a secret, had finally stepped into the light. And from this point forward, nothing would be the same. The galaxy had never witnessed patience wielded as a weapon, until humanity showed Zithra what subtle, calculated presence could do. Lyra Ven stood on the observation deck of Orion's shadow, her gaze tracing the holographic projections of the Zithran fleets. The alien vessels moved frantically, attempting to anticipate human positions, but every maneuver only exposed their vulnerability. Every system they defend, every convoy they protect, Lyra said softly, we control indirectly. And they don't even realize it yet. Terran Solis, standing beside her, frowned at the cascading data streams. Commander, their fleets are beginning to reroute. Entire convoys are halting. We're causing disruption without a single engagement. Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. Exactly. Humans don't just fight. Humans shape the battlefield before a shot is fired. This is the lesson Zithra must learn. Across the Zithran Empire, the effect of the hidden fleet was catastrophic, yet subtle. Supply lines, the backbone of their interstellar operations, were disrupted not through destruction but through sudden disappearances of convoys. Ships would vanish from communication grids, reappearing only in distant sectors, delivering no attack but leaving fear in their wake. Zithran captains reported phantom fleets, ships that appeared in impossible locations, then dissolved into nothingness, leaving entire sectors immobilized by uncertainty. General Thrylock, his massive claws trembling with frustration, growled in the council chamber aboard Thrysalon. Our forces cannot engage. Every move we make they anticipate, or they simply vanish. We are trapped by nothing. Admiral Corvallis's multiple eyes narrowed. We are facing an intelligence that does not fight like us. That does not respond like us. They do not strike, they manipulate perception. We cannot prepare for what we cannot see. Lyra had anticipated this exact reaction. Humanity had spent decades developing not only advanced ships but also psychological leverage. Each movement, each subtle reveal of their fleet's presence, was calculated to instill doubt, hesitation, and fear. The Zithrans had expected war. They received something far more disorienting: strategic mastery without combat. In a distant sector, a Zithran fleet attempted to intercept a convoy of supply ships. As sensors locked onto what they assumed were human vessels, the fleet's own coordinates shifted, forcing them to chase shadows. Meanwhile, human ships appeared thousands of kilometers away, their positions strategically irrelevant to the alien attack but perfectly placed to disrupt coordination. Saren Kai, aboard the scout vessel that had first encountered the hidden fleet, recorded the anomaly in disbelief. They can be everywhere at once. How can any species achieve this? Vierwenenthal's mandibles clicked sharply. It is not speed alone. It is not numbers. It is planning, foresight, anticipation of our every thought. They think like 100 commanders at once. On Orion's shadow, Lyra studied the holographic representation of Zithran fleet movements. Each flicker, each panic-induced reroute, confirmed her calculations. They're learning to fear not us but the unknown. Every fleet we reveal, every disappearance we orchestrate, it shapes the galaxy to our advantage. Fear without engagement is more powerful than fear with fire. Terran leaned over her shoulder. Commander, some sectors are already reporting complete communication blackouts. Entire colonies are isolating themselves. They aren't fighting back, they're hiding. Lyra's gaze hardened. Good. Let them hide. Let them think isolation is safety. They will come to understand that the shadows they rely on for control are the very shadows we own. The human fleet moved in perfect, synchronized patterns. Subsquadrons blinked from one point to another, making it impossible for Zithran sensors to track them continuously. They didn't attack convoys or colonies. Instead, they altered the perception of space itself, creating phantom presences, forcing alien fleets to miscalculate. Supply convoys rerouted unnecessarily, defense grids overextended, and command centers were paralyzed by indecision. In the Zithran High Citadel, Admiral Corvallis slammed his clawed hand against the command console. We must strike. We must commit. We cannot allow a species to exist like this, everywhere and nowhere at once. Thrylock's voice was low and menacing. Strike? Against what? We see no fleet. We detect no base. Every sector we attempt to secure crumbles without a single shot fired. They are impossible. Lyra allowed herself a brief, quiet satisfaction. Humanity had not deployed the full fleet yet. This was only the beginning, a lesson in restraint and strategy. The Zithrans were forced to confront the uncomfortable truth. A species could dominate without battle, could control outcomes through intelligence, timing, and perception. To amplify the effect, human ships initiated what Lyra called the Mirror Protocol. For every movement Zithran fleets made, human vessels appeared in parallel sectors, creating the illusion of omnipresence. Entire fleets hesitated, unsure which convoys were real, which planets were under threat, and which zones were safe. Supply lines slowed to a crawl, command decisions were delayed, and Zithran confidence, once absolute, began to crumble. Even Corvallis, the brilliant tactician who had never been bested, felt the walls of control close in around him. They are everywhere. They anticipate every action before it is taken. They are not merely a fleet. They are a strategy incarnate. Lyra watched the reactions across multiple sectors, her voice calm as Terran documented the effects. Perception is reality. We do not need to destroy their ships to dominate them. We need only make them question every assumption they have ever held. Every hesitation is a victory. Every fear planted is a gain in territory without a shot fired. The human fleet did not accelerate toward conflict. It moved with patience, precision, and a terrifying sense of inevitability. Every star system the Zithrans controlled felt the invisible hand of human strategy guiding events, a silent omnipresence that reshaped their entire empire. And in that silence, a new understanding dawned across Zithran space. They were no longer in control. Every calculation, every protocol, every military doctrine they had trusted for centuries was failing. Humanity had not just entered the galaxy, they had rewritten the rules of engagement entirely. Lyra turned to Terran, her voice soft but resolute. They think strength is measured by fleets and firepower. They will learn, painfully, that true strength lies in patience, planning, and perception. And they will learn that humans do not act rashly, but when we do act, the galaxy shifts forever. As the human fleet held its silent positions, waiting, observing, and subtly reshaping the battlefield, one thing became clear. The Zithran Empire had never faced an enemy like this. Humanity's mastery of strategy, foresight, and psychological dominance would echo across the stars long before a single weapon was fired. The galaxy had felt the first tremors of a revelation. Humanity was not just present. Humanity was inevitable. The galaxy had changed. In Zithran space, entire fleets had halted mid-operation, convoys had frozen mid-jump, and colonies whispered of an invisible force reshaping their world. Humanity had not fired a shot, yet the Empire trembled. On Orion's shadow, Commander Lyra Venn surveyed the latest Zithran communications. Every message, every intercepted transmission, carried the same emotion: disbelief, fear, and confusion. The alien empires had spent centuries building an image of superiority, and now that illusion was crumbling. Terran Solis, her second-in-command, pointed at the holographic map. "Commander, Zithran High Command is consolidating forces near the core systems. They're expecting something. They don't know what, but they're preparing for it." Lyra's eyes glimmered with resolve. "Then we will give them something to prepare for." Unlike previous maneuvers, this was no longer subtle. Human ships began revealing themselves at full scale, appearing near critical Zithran command hubs, supply depots, and fleet rendezvous points. Thousands of vessels shimmered into existence, their sleek metallic hulls reflecting distant starlight, their sheer presence demanding acknowledgement. In the outermost sectors, Zithran fleets scrambled to intercept, only to find themselves trapped by human strategy and foresight. Ships vanished, reappeared, or blocked escape routes. Supply lines disintegrated, communications broke down, and the once confident commanders realized they were surrounded by an enemy they could not predict. On the surface of a Zithran outpost, Lieutenant Saren Kai stared at the blinking holographic images of human ships appearing over her scanners. How can they exist like this? It's impossible. They're everywhere at once." Captain Vierwenenthal's voice trembled with tension. "Impossible is no longer an excuse. They have surpassed everything we have ever known. We are overwhelmed before we even fight." Lyra initiated the first deliberate interaction. A squadron of human ships hovered silently over a Zithran communication hub. Weapons were retracted, engines were idle, shields lowered, a gesture that was deliberate, almost ceremonial. They were not attacking, they were asserting presence. Corvallis, observing the unfolding scenario from the high citadel, felt a rare chill of fear. "They do not fight," he muttered. "And yet, our entire empire is paralyzed. What kind of species can dominate without aggression?" The human fleet's movements were precise. They did not destroy. They revealed. Colonies and outposts found themselves encircled, not by firepower, but by the undeniable reach of a species that could appear anywhere, anytime, and vanish just as easily. Panic spread through Zithran ranks. Orders conflicted, fleets misrouted, and the High Council found itself unable to respond effectively. Lyra's message was simple, broadcast across multiple Zithran channels. "We do not come as conquerors nor as destroyers. We are here. We exist. Your assumptions end today." The effect was immediate. On countless worlds, systems went dark. Fleets halted. Commanders froze mid-order. The alien empire that had ruled through certainty and force was suddenly uncertain in every action. Humanity had achieved what no weapon could accomplish: total strategic dominance without firing a single shot. Yet this was not enough. Lyra knew perception alone would only last so long. To cement the lesson, she directed a demonstration of power. In a remote sector, a Zithran research station was quietly experimenting with new quantum drives. The station's existence had been noted by human intelligence for decades, its isolation making it a perfect target. A single human squadron blinked into orbit around the station. No weapons were drawn. No shields flared. And yet, the station's entire network went offline in moments. Communications, experiments, defenses, everything ceased. The humans had achieved control without confrontation. Saren Kai watched in horror from her scout ship. They didn't even fire. They didn't touch anything physically. And yet, it's gone. They controlled it all. Virwen Enthal's jaw tightened. They are not just ships. They are a force that bends reality to their will. Every strategy we plan, every maneuver we calculate, they are already beyond it. Lyra observed the effects, satisfied. The Zithrans were learning a painful truth: humans were no ordinary species. Their ingenuity, patience, and foresight allowed them to dominate entire sectors through strategy, positioning, and psychological mastery alone. On Zithra, Admiral Corvallis addressed the council, his voice heavy with rare humility. "We have underestimated them for centuries. Every system we believe secure, every fleet we consider sufficient, they have outmaneuvered us without a single battle. Humanity is unlike anything we have known." Even Thrylock, the brutal general who had crushed countless foes, admitted aloud, "We cannot defeat them conventionally. They exist beyond combat, they exist as inevitability." Lyra's final demonstration in this phase of the campaign was the coordinated appearance of thousands of human ships over the central Zithran fleet command hub. Engines remained off, weapons retracted, shields idle. The entire empire watched, unable to intervene, as humans silently hovered above the heart of Zithran power. Corvallis, for the first time in his life, felt true fear. They are above us. Not because they fight, but because they exist. They have forced us to see what we are incapable of seeing ourselves. Lyra then allowed herself a faint, private smile. Humanity had not conquered, not yet. They had not destroyed. But they had revealed their full measure, and in that revelation, the Zithrans understood the cost of underestimation. The reckoning was complete. Entire fleets, star systems, and colonies were now aware of a species that could appear anywhere, act with precision, and dominate without aggression. The galaxy had glimpsed humanity's true strength. The balance of power had shifted irrevocably. Lyra turned to Terran Solis, voice calm but resonant. "This is the moment they begin to understand. Humanity does not seek war, but humanity cannot be ignored. Our presence is the first message. Our restraint is the second. And our patience will be the legacy they cannot escape." Across the stars, Zithran fleets faltered, alien councils quaked, and humans remained poised, silent, and absolute. The galaxy had seen the first proof of the truth. Humans were no longer a species to dismiss. They were the reckoning itself. The galaxy held its breath. From the distant core worlds to the outermost colonies, the signs were unmistakable. Something had changed. Humanity had revealed itself, not with war, not with conquest, but with the undeniable proof of power and strategy. And the effect on the Zithrans and their allies was catastrophic. Admiral Corvallis paced the floor of the High Citadel on Zithra Prime, his many eyes scanning multiple holographic maps simultaneously. The readings were chaos incarnate. Fleets were immobilized mid-jump. Supply lines had collapsed. Communication grids flickered in and out of existence. Colonies had gone silent. The empire that had ruled through certainty for centuries now faced uncertainty in every system. Impossible, he whispered, though the word carried no disbelief, it was a confession. Every calculation, every strategy, they have rendered it meaningless. Humanity is everywhere and nowhere at once. General Thrylock, the massive Zithran commander, banged his claw against the console in frustration. They have not fired a single weapon and yet we are paralyzed. Entire sectors go dark, fleets vanish, and our colonies retreat into isolation. How do we fight an enemy that does not fight? Corvallis paused, his mandibles clicking in thought. We cannot. Every move we make, every fleet we deploy, they anticipate or they vanish. They do not attack, they exist. And existence, it seems, is a weapon we cannot counter. Far from the chaos, humanity's Orion's shadow fleet maintained a calm, silent presence. Commander Lyra Venn observed the unfolding collapse with measured satisfaction. Every movement had been deliberate. Every appearance of human ships had been calculated to force maximum disruption without firing a shot. Terran Solis leaned beside her, reading intercepted communications. Commander, the Zithrans are beginning to pull entire fleets back. Entire regions are going dark. Colonies are shutting down communication permanently. They are abandoning sectors. Lyra's gaze swept over the holographic galaxy. They have finally learned what we have been teaching them in silence. Humans are not to be underestimated. We do not strike recklessly. We act with patience, precision, and purpose. And the knowledge of what we are capable of is enough to dismantle their certainty. Across multiple sectors, other alien empires watched the unraveling of Zithran space with trepidation. News of disappearing fleets, disrupted colonies, and silent star systems spread quickly. Empires that had once rivaled Zithra's power paused operations. Their intelligence networks reported anomalies they could not explain, and the lesson became clear. A species that could dominate without aggression was unlike any they had encountered. The revelation rippled faster than any fleet could travel. Star systems went dark to protect themselves. Trade routes collapsed under the weight of fear and uncertainty. Military councils convened in desperation, only to find that every calculation humanity anticipated in advance. Fear had become the invisible empire that ruled the galaxy. Lyra activated the next phase. Subsquadrons blinked into existence near critical alien hubs, communication stations, fleet depots, research centers. Each squadron remained passive. Weapons retracted, shields idle, engines off. And yet, each appearance caused panic, hesitation, and self-imposed isolation. In Zithran space, Saren Kai observed her instruments shaking with confusion. Captain, they're not attacking. But every system we command is failing. Our fleets are frozen. Colonies are shutting down. They have taken the entire empire without firing a single shot. Virwanenthal's jaw clicked in disbelief. They are not ships. They are a concept, a force. They exist as inevitability. And we are powerless against it. Corvallis addressed the High Council with the first words in centuries tinged with fear. We underestimated them. Humanity is not a threat to fight, they are a threat to existence itself as we perceive it. They have shattered our empire through presence alone. Every system we claim is no longer under control. They have forced us to acknowledge their supremacy without a single engagement. Lyra Venn broadcast a galaxy-wide message. Not to threaten, not to demand surrender, but to cement understanding. We have revealed ourselves. We do not conquer by fire. We do not enslave. We exist. Learn this. Underestimation is now your greatest danger. Across Zithran space, the response was immediate. Entire fleets ceased operations. Communications went silent. Civilian populations withdrew from planetary grids. Even the once proud High Citadel reduced its activity to minimal operations. Humanity had not destroyed them, but the Empire had collapsed under the weight of knowledge and fear. Other alien species, watching these events unfold from the safety of their own territories, began similar measures. Trade and diplomacy froze. Alliances were reconsidered. Humanity's demonstration had not just dismantled one empire, it had reshaped the psychology of every observer in the galaxy. Lyra turned to Terran Solis, her voice calm and resolute. This is the power of restraint. Humanity could destroy fleets, conquer worlds, and yet we do not. Instead, we demonstrate what we are capable of. And the galaxy responds not to aggression, but to truth. Terran nodded, still in awe. Commander, entire empires are going dark. They are retreating into isolation. This is unprecedented. Lyra's gaze swept across the fleet's holographic display. Every hidden vessel, every subsquadron, maintained perfect coordination. No human life had been lost. No colony had been harmed. Yet the message had been received. Humanity was the apex of the galaxy, and it had been underestimated at its peril. Corvallis, once the embodiment of confidence and control, now sat in stunned silence. Every strategic advantage he had relied upon had been nullified. Every assumption about human weakness had been proven catastrophically wrong. And across Zithra, darkness had replaced certainty. The empire that had ruled through fear and discipline now faced the impossible, the existence of a species too powerful to fight conventionally. In the quiet of Orion's shadow, Lyra allowed herself a rare smile. Humanity had not only revealed the fleet, it had revealed the truth of its potential. The galaxy had seen what patience, innovation, and strategy could achieve. And from this moment forward, no empire, no species, would ever underestimate humanity again. The alien empires went dark, not because they were defeated by fire but because they were outmaneuvered in perception, strategy, and inevitability. Humanity had claimed the stage of the galaxy without a single casualty, a single war, or a single planet destroyed. And in that silence, a new order began, not of domination but of respect, fear, and acknowledgement. Humanity had revealed the hidden fleet, and the universe would never be the same. The galaxy had changed forever. Where once empires had ruled through fear, through overwhelming force, and through unchallenged dominance, now a quiet truth had settled across the stars. Humanity was awake, aware, and inevitable. The hidden fleet had revealed itself not as a conquering army but as a measure of potential, an example of what a species could achieve through patience, ingenuity, and mastery of strategy. On the command deck of Orion's Shadow, Commander Lyra Venn surveyed the latest holographic projections of the galaxy. Zithran space lay darkened, fleets immobilized or withdrawn, colonies isolated. Yet there was no devastation, no firestorm of battle, only the undeniable presence of humanity's reach. Thousands of ships, each a marvel of design and technology, floated like constellations in the void, ready to act but restrained by principle. Terran Solis stood beside her, eyes tracing the myriad positions of human vessels. Commander, it's complete. Entire empires have gone dark. Their fleets, their command networks, everything they relied upon to maintain power has faltered. And we didn't strike a single blow. Lyra's expression was calm but resolute. That is the power of understanding your own strength, and letting it speak for itself. Humanity has shown the galaxy that domination does not require destruction. It requires perception, patience, and the courage to act with precision when the moment demands it. Across Zithran worlds, leaders emerged from hiding. The fear that had gripped them for months was slowly giving way to reflection. Scholars, generals, and politicians alike began to understand the full extent of humanity's capabilities. Humanity had not simply revealed a fleet, they had revealed the nature of their species. It was not aggression but intelligence and foresight that had shifted the balance of power. In the void above a once bustling Zithran capital, a squadron of human ships hovered silently, engines idle, weapons retracted. Below, the alien populace watched in awe. Children, engineers, and soldiers alike saw for the first time a species that had mastered the galaxy not by sheer force, but by hidden potential and restraint. Humanity had become legend even before any word had left Orion's shadow. Lyra initiated a galaxy-wide broadcast, one not of threat, but of invitation. We have revealed ourselves. We do not seek conquest, but we do not tolerate underestimation. Humanity is ready to take its place among the stars, not through violence but through vision, innovation, and mutual respect. Learn from this and you may find your path forward. The message rippled across alien networks. Empires that had once prided themselves on control paused, reconsidered, and adapted. Trade resumed under new understandings. Fleets returned cautiously to patrol duties, but never without the shadow of human observation lingering across every sector. Humanity's presence had become the new constant. Lyra turned to Terran. The galaxy has learned something crucial. A species need not conquer to command respect. Strength is measured by vision, by intelligence, and by the ability to act decisively when required. That is humanity's legacy. Beyond the immediate tactical victories, humanity began establishing a new framework for galactic relations. Scientists from multiple empires reached out, intrigued by the technology and strategy that had allowed a hidden fleet to dominate perception itself. Diplomats, cautiously optimistic, initiated dialogue with human envoys. For the first time, alien and human leaders could interact not under duress, but under mutual acknowledgement of capability. On distant worlds, scholars recorded the events in detail. The revelation of the hidden fleet became a subject of study and reflection, a tale of restraint, patience, and intellectual mastery. Humans were no longer a footnote in galactic history, they were the benchmark against which all species would measure power and strategy. Lyra watched the young crew of Orion's Shadow as they moved efficiently through their duties. Every officer, every engineer, every pilot had played a role in this silent transformation. It was not brute force that had won the day, it was human ingenuity, foresight, and patience. The lesson extended beyond strategy, it was a lesson in identity. Humanity had revealed not just a fleet, but the essence of what it meant to be human, resourceful, adaptable, and unyielding in the pursuit of excellence. Terran spoke softly, almost in awe. "Commander, we've done more than defend humanity. We've reshaped the galaxy without a single battle." Lyra's gaze drifted to the holographic map, seeing Zithran space, now quiet and contemplative. "That is the goal," she said. "We do not seek war. We seek recognition. We do not seek conquest. We seek understanding. The galaxy will remember not the ships we command, but the mind that guides them." As decades passed, the galaxy adapted to the presence of humanity. Formerly aggressive empires rebuilt under new treaties. Trade and cultural exchange flourished under cautious yet mutual respect. Human fleets remained vigilant, guardians of the balance, silent but unchallengeable. The Orion's Shadow Command Station became a symbol, not of dominance but of responsibility, vision, and restraint. Legends of Commander Lyra Ven and the Hidden Fleet spread far and wide. In the void, her name became synonymous with strategy, patience, and revelation. The galaxy would tell stories of the species that had been underestimated for centuries, only to emerge not through war, but through existence, intelligence, and foresight. Humanity had claimed its place not with destruction, but with a demonstration of the highest form of power, restraint and mastery. The hidden fleet had been revealed, alien empires had gone dark, and a new horizon had dawned for all who inhabited the stars. Lyra's final words to her fleet echoed across Orion's shadow as she looked at the constellation of human vessels floating in silent coordination. "We are here. We have been here. And now the galaxy knows it. Let our presence guide the stars toward understanding, progress, and respect. Humanity is not to be underestimated, ever again." The galaxy, once ruled by fear and assumption, now understood a new truth. Humanity had emerged from the shadows, not as conquerors, but as the defining measure of intelligence, strategy, and restraint. The new horizon had arrived and it was human,